Hello, everyone, and yes, weird setup again today. Back home in St. Louis with my parents, and I'll be here for the next couple of weeks before I go back to Madison, which is where I live. So that's why the setup is so weird. It's not quite as good as my other place. But either way, we got some big news for you today. The U.S. government officially gained 69,000 more Bitcoin, and yes, it is from the Silk Road case. An appeals court has verified that the Silk Road guy gave up 69,000 more Bitcoin. This was first reported in August, but an appeals court has finally concluded the legal process to officially confiscate 69,000 Bitcoin from Silk Road. Why? The timing is very, very convenient, don't you think? Uncle Sam gets 69,000 more Bitcoins to auction off to who? The cabal, of course. BlackRock, Fidelity, ARK Invest, and other crypto ETFs that they like. And guess what? All those companies have an ETF coming up. So they can just buy them from cheap from Uncle Sam instead of buy them off the market and raise the price. It's like unofficial OTC buying because the US government usually auctions these things off at a discount. And yes, 69,000 Bitcoins is a lot. Might put a little damper on hopefully the ETF pump, which hopefully it doesn't do. I don't know how much Bitcoins they're going to want, but look at all of a sudden the US government just got 69,000 of those bad boys to sell to the cabal. And I think they're going to keep doing this, which means people like BlackRock are going to keep getting fed by the US government for their Bitcoins, ending all hope of little mice's dream of economic independence from the cabal and from the federal government. You see how it's all coming together? Yes, they actually give the US government 69,000 Bitcoins at the right time. And I don't think the US is done selling the previous stash of Bitcoins either, or maybe they haven't sold them at all and they kept them just for selling to BlackRock, Fidelity, and the others once the ETF came out. Maybe they were timing this all along, just so they didn't have to buy the price up when it came to it. Now, the thing is, like, they have to buy them from the government still, but this also would kill any rumors of, or any, like, speculation of a giant Bitcoin drop just because BlackRock and Fidelity wanted to get in cheaper. But it could hamper the rise of Bitcoin afterwards because if they're just going to buy from Uncle Sam, then they're not buying from Coinbase and Binance and pulling up the price. And it will be up to retail to pull up the price. I still think there's going to be plenty of FOMO from retail to pull up the price, but they might be buying 69,000 Bitcoins from Uncle Sam and probably more from Uncle Sam because I heard that the US government has something like 200,000 Bitcoins that it could actually auction off, but it might not be auctioning it off to the public. It could just be selling them specifically to the cabal at a very, very low price. Now, I wouldn't worry too much because 200,000 Bitcoins is still 1% of all the Bitcoins out there. But if you see if you see BlackRock with a giant stash of Bitcoin and they're not buying them off the market and not making the price go up, I think you know now where BlackRock just got them. Very, very convenient timing, in my opinion. So Korea is meeting with Gary Gensler in January. And it's the head of the Korean regulations thing. So this could turn out in one of two ways. It could turn out really good or really bad. And I don't know if I like our odds because they want to make the two the two regulators kind of like complement each other, which means they want both countries to have similar regulations to crypto. And that could go one of two ways. Either America adopts more of Korea's stance, which would be a much more like liberal stance on cryptocurrency, or Korea adopts America's stance, which is like the we hate crypto stance. Hopefully America adopts more of Korea's stance, but I honestly would not bet on it right now because I don't really know if that's the way like things are headed. America is the bigger country and they do have more influence. And South Korea wants really good diplomatic relations with the US because obviously we're kind of like protecting them a little bit from North Korea and China and all that stuff. So the guy's called Lee Bak-hyun and he plans to meet with SEC Chair Gary Gensler in January to discuss the status of the crypto market. Now, South Korea right now is much, much more liberal towards cryptocurrencies than the United States. but they might have to change some of their stances to kind of comply with the United States, which is what I'm afraid of. So he's going to arrive in January and meet with Gensler, and they plan to discuss the crypto market status and direction of the supervisory policy affecting the space. Now, remember, South Korea is trying to build a national type of metaverse for its people. So they really want to integrate crypto more in the United States. I doubt the US has any kind of plans like that. They're saying regulatory cooperation between countries is important for borderless virtual assets, said an unnamed South Korean government official. The meeting will come at a critical time for both governments and financial regulators. And many experts have speculated the SEC could approve multiple spot Bitcoin soon. So it's probably because of that. South Korea wants to know what the U.S. and Gary Gensler thinks. And the U.S. probably wants South Korea more to fit into the whole U.S. mold. And Gary Gensler probably wants South Korea to tighten the hatchet too. And not just South Korea, but they probably wants many other countries to tighten the hatchet. So people have nowhere to run to hide their crypto taxes. South Korea may be the first of many countries that Lord Gensler visits to get them in line with U.S. policy. And I do think South Korea will actually follow along with the United States, although I don't think the regulations in South Korea will be nearly as tight as they are here. But they probably just want to touch base and see how much they can actually complement each other in terms of cryptocurrency policy, so they don't have any run-ins in the future where there's big misunderstandings, because with new markets like this, there could always be big misunderstandings. So probably a pretty important meeting that's a little less known of. Maybe Gary Gensler's going to make the rounds to other countries soon. We'll have to see what happens there, but very exciting times next year. And there is bullish news for Stacks. If you look at Stacks, it is way up. It's up. It was up 20-30% yesterday, climbing the ranks pretty fast. And that is because Tim Draper had a big investor. Tim Draper has had some big comments on it. Now, Tim Draper is the guy that's super bullish on pretty much everything Bitcoin, and he believes that applications built on Bitcoin will perform similarly how Microsoft applications did in the internet boom. I don't think so, because the Bitcoin blockchain is slow and as molasses, and you can't really build that many things on Bitcoin and expect them to run correctly. Of course, Zipped, it's up by 27% on Wednesday, and that's because they had a series of positive comments by Tim Draper. And of course, that's good because Tim Draper has a lot of money, which means he's probably going to pour more money into Stacks. It's a layer 2 network designed to enable smart contracts on Bitcoin. I laugh when I think about smart contracts on Bitcoin, seeing how much chaos that Ordinals has actually created. And the thing is, if Ordinals creates that much chaos, I think layer 2 smart contracts, I'm not really sure how effective they're going to be on Bitcoin. I honestly think people need to stop trying to build on Bitcoin, because I think that's a lost cause. Bitcoin was just never built for you to actually build apps around it. People are trying to make up for the deficiencies in many ways, but I honestly don't think it's going to work. But Tim Draper is obviously very excited about Stacks. And he's most of what I've seen investing in have been things that start to move the important applications over Bitcoin, which, like I said, I don't think Bitcoin's actually built for applications at all. You would have to port it all through layer 2, like Stacks or Lightning. I don't think they're going to be able to port ordinals through either one. So I'm not really sure. Maybe they'll actually make Bitcoin scale well, but I have a lot of doubts. And Draper, let's not forget, still expects Bitcoin to be $250K by 2025, which is a lot higher than my initial guess. I think he wanted $250K by 2021 or 2022, but obviously that did not happen. So now he is shooting for 2025. So Stacks might actually be something that you want to look at, mainly because Tim Draper's bullish on it and he's going to pour a lot of money into it regardless. And when crypto gets a lot of money poured into it, it generally goes up at first, whether it's successful or not. So you can buy some Stacks right now, wait for Tim Draper to pour money into it, and then when it goes up, you cash out before you know the result, because the result could be not so great. And that obviously is a distinct possibility that you always have to keep in mind. That the guy pours money into it, it never goes anywhere, and then it kind of just fades into oblivion. That's happened to many projects before. You should always keep that in your mind. Just because someone poured a lot of money into it once does not mean they're going to be super successful, even if that guy's a perma bull like Tim Draper, expecting Bitcoin to be $250,000. I still have my doubts on this thing working because as far as I've seen, Bitcoin is just not built for applications. But hey, maybe I'll be wrong because I've definitely been wrong before on my guesses. But this time with all the ordinals mess, I just don't really see it happening. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.